welcome, and thank you so much for coming here again, honestly. So, welcome to our first official lesson in the prep before we get to the alphabets. In this lesson, I'm going to be going over some key placements of where Soulvean letters, sounds, and numbers are going to be placed. So, I hope you do not mind this video. And if you're watching it, again, thank you so much for just watching it. It means so much to me, so thank you. Without further ado, let's go in. Okay, so first things first, we're going to write up here in this area here. What I'm going to do is make a little bit of a mock thing. So first things first is that Soulvean has 3 lines. 3 lines. We have our top line right here. We have a middle line right here. And we have a bottom line. And then, of course, we have these 2 spaces in between. 1 and 2. Perfect. In this video, we're going to be going over these areas. And also giving you some examples as to why they're so important. Okay, so the first one on our list here is mapa. 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 And in Soulvean, it's written like this. Mapa. Mapa. And to show that on this piece of paper here, mapa, the very top line here. See, the top line. And this equals mapa. So, mapa, which in Soulvean is written like this. Mapa. And it equals top line. Top line. Alrighty. Next is our middle line. This is known as fefna. Fefna. And in Soulvean, it's written like this. Fefna. Well, there we go. Fefna. Like this. Alrighty. To show you what this looks like here on this piece of paper, we're going to imagine that this here is our mapa, and this would be the bottom line. So this middle line here is fefna. This middle line here, you see right here, this middle line equals fefna. So fefna, fefna, fefna. And in Soulvean, this is written like this. Fefna. Fefna. Alrighty. Our next line is our last line too. And this is the bottom line. This is known as kana or kanya. 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 And it's written like this. Kanya. There you go. See, so we got these top lines. Alright, and then with the same diagram that we kind of have here, we're going to imagine that this right here is the top line. This would be the mapa. And this middle line here would be the fefna. So this bottom line is the one we're going to be using now. This bottom line here. And this bottom line equals kanya. Kanya. In Soulvean, this is written like this. Kanya. And let's go back here to fefna. Fefna equals middle line. So, middle line. And kanya equals bottom line. Bottom line. Alrighty, so now that we have these 3 lines here, it's time to talk about the 2 spaces that are in between these lines. Starting with this top space, or I guess you could call it a first space. This first space is known as mapa-fefna. So mapa hyphen fefna. Fefna. Or to write it better, so it's not all cramped there, mapa-fefna. Alrighty, as mentioned before, mapa-fefna is the space between mapa and fefna. If we were to imagine again that we have our 3 lines here, so our mapa and a fefna here, our mapa-fefna would be this space right here, and this space right here would be our mapa-fefna. Mapa-fefna. And to write this in Soulvean, it's the same thing as you do for mapa and the same thing you do for fefna. Mapa-fefna. So what does mapa-fefna equal? It quite literally just means top middle. Top middle. Top middle. And then of course you could put space, but that's just included already. Alrighty, our final space. And then afterwards we're going to go into some examples, letters, sounds, and numbers that fit within these ranges. This way it could help you identify what they look like, but also when we go into further lessons with the alphabet, you would understand some of the terminology and also the placements. Okay, you ready? Our last area, our last space is known as kanya-fefna. Kanya-fefna. It's a hyphen. Fefna. Kanya-fefna. And this is the middle bottom, like the bottom middle. The bottom middle. So if you were to go back down here to a little diagram, so here was the top line where mapa was, and here was fefna. This section here, the section between fefna and kanya is kanya-fefna. 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 And then Sophie, you write it the same way you would write kanya and fefna. Almost wrote it in English there, my bad. So kanya, and fefna. And fefna. And this equals bottom middle. Bottom middle. Currently my hand's covering it. And there you go. Okay, so let's quickly recap. We have our top line, which is known as mapa, the top line, and that's how you write it in Soulvean. We have our middle line, which is fefna, and this is in the middle. Then we have our bottom line, kanya, and that's the bottom line. In between mapa and fefna, those 2 lines, we have a space that's called mapa-fefna. So again, between mapa and fefna, we have a space called mapa-fefna. Below that, in the same adjacent space, if you would, we have a space between fefna and kanya. This is known as kanya-fefna. This space between fefna and kanya-fefna. And that means bottom middle, as in mapa-fefna means top middle. Then kanya-fefna would be the bottom middle. Alrighty, now let's go into some examples of this and why they would be kind of important, actually extremely important later on. Alrighty, ready? So we're starting with these 3 lines up here. There you go. As you can see, our 3 lines here. And these are the examples. So here's our first letter. here's the first letter here. This letter is considered a mapa letter. A mapa letter. And you're probably wondering, well, why is it a mapa letter? Here's why it's a mapa letter, or considered a mapa letter. It's because both its little bases here touches mapa. See how the little bases here touches mapa? That's why it's a mapa letter. Same thing with this one here. This letter here is also a mapa letter. And the reason why is because its base is on mapa. Alrighty, so that should kind of give you an idea of mapa letters. And when we come to the alphabets and I teach you the alphabet and etc., the numbers and sounds, we'll be going into more detail and you've seen even more examples of these. Okay, let's move on to our first space, our mapa-fefna. So here we go. Mapa-fefna. This letter here is not touching mapa, nor is it touching fefna. It's floating in this space here. So this is a mapa-fefna letter. Alrighty, and if we go here, this is also a mapa-fefna letter because see, it's in this space, not touching the top line or the middle line. Alrighty, moving down. Here we go. This letter here is known as a fefna letter. The reason why is because its little bases are touching fefna. It's coming from fefna. And here's another one for you. And to write this one better, there we go. So this is the same letter written twice, just to let you know. Same letter written twice. This is also a fefna letter, and the reason why is because the majority of it and its base is on fefna. Alrighty, moving down to our second space, which is kanya-fefna. Kanya-fefna. We're going to look at some letters of kanya-fefna. Ready? This letter here is a kanya-fefna letter. And the reason why is because it's not touching fefna and it's not touching kanya. It's a kanya-fefna letter. Alrighty, let's give you another one. Well, actually, we'll save some other ones for later. Your next letter, or even number, would be this one. And this is going to be moving down again. It's going to be a kanya one. So let's go. As you've seen this one being written so many times in this lesson, this is considered a kanya letter. And the reason for that is because its bases touch kanya. See, it touches kanya. And those are some examples. So to recap, the reason why these two here are considered mapa letters is because their bases are on mapa. These two here are considered mapa-fefna letters because they're in between the space of mapa-fefna. These two here are considered fefna letters because they're connected to fefna. Their base is in fefna. This one's considered a kanya-fefna letter because it's in between the space of kanya-fefna. And this is considered a kanya letter because its base is touching kanya. And that would be it for today. Thank you everyone so much for just coming by and clicking on this video and watching it. Hopefully you made it to the end, and if you did, thank you so much. I hope this was educational for you, and I can't wait to see you in the next lesson. Without going away.